Thank you. November 18th meeting of Owen Sound City Council. We do. We can't do a thing without the clerk.
Or a deputy.
Or a deputy. We have a deputy. We're good to go now. The clerk is currently placing the Prince of Wales bronze plaque in a safe place overnight until tomorrow, when it'll be installed on the outside of City Hall. This is an award that the city has received from Heritage Foundation Canada for municipal leadership in heritage preservation and the preservation and promotion of our cultural assets as well, from Heritage Foundation Canada. I will invite Pastor David Kennedy. Is Pastor Kennedy here? Oh, there he is, right there. Pastor Kennedy brings tonight a faith blessing from the Salvation Army. Welcome.
Thank you. Mayor Haswell, City Council members, staff, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the privilege of being able to come and share a faith blessing with you. As a relative newcomer to the city of Owen Sound, one of the things that has impressed me over the past 14 months is the degree of community service that takes place here in the city. This past weekend's a prime example, the commencement of the Festival of Northern Lights and the Kiwanis Owen Sound Santa Claus Parade, both of which these endeavors are made possible by the community service by a host of volunteers. Perhaps the City of Owen Sound tagline should be amended to say, where you want to live and serve. Just a thought. In commenting about people who give of themselves in the service of others, Albert Schweitzer said, "I don't know what your destiny will be, but one thing I know. The only ones among you who will really be happy are those who have sought and found how to serve." From a slightly different perspective, Muhammad Ali said, "Service to others is the rent you pay for your room here on earth." And in what has become known over time as a golden rule, Jesus taught that we are to do to others as we would have them do to you. So on behalf of the Salvation Army and the citizens of Owen Sound, thank you each for the countless hours of service that you individually and collectively invest on our behalf. Thank you for your efforts to make a difference in our community and to be facilitators of solutions rather than proponents of problems. May God in His grace and His love bless each of you this evening, and may you receive this blessing. May you have ears that listen with empathy to the concerns brought before you. May you have eyes that see with clarity the issues and the remedies. May you have mouths that speak with both kindness and integrity. May you have minds that with wisdom discern the best rather than simply the expedient. And may you have hearts of compassion so that in all of your service there is love. Amen. God bless you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are there any additional items for this evening? Councillor Chamberlain?
Yes, I would like to do some more honoring of the Kiwanis Club, please.
Councillor Purdon?
I have an item about the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women.
Okay. Councillor Lemon?
Yes, I have something on transit at the meeting Wednesday.
Councillor Wright?
I want to talk about last Friday night.
Anyone else? Over here? Any member of staff? Seeing none, I have one item with regards to a fundraising event at the Owen Sound City Jail. Mr. McRoberts, did you have an item?
Just one item, just to speak about the transit meeting coming up on Wednesday.
Okay. Any other members of staff or council? Seeing none, thank you. Disclosure of pecuniary interest, please. Seeing none. Confirmation of the minutes. We have 3 sets of minutes. October 30th, pre-budget, November 4th public meeting and a November 4th regular council meeting. Councillor Wright.
I'll have to take them all separately, Your Worship.
Yes.
They've been signed individually. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Lemon, that the minutes of the pre-budget meeting held on October 30th, 2013, as printed, be adopted.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Sorry, if I may. With regard to the pre-budget meeting, there is an error in there.
Okay. Could you
Go ahead. Oh, sorry, David. Thank you.
please indicate what the error is?
At 13A, it refers to economic development and tourism and motions that I brought that suggested I brought two at once, and that Councillor Twaddle had brought a tabling motion. In fact, I brought them separately. The first motion was that City Council hereby direct staff to bring back a report on the best strategies of a communication and marketing plan for the city during the 2014 budget deliberations. That was passed unanimously. Then separately, I brought a second motion that the City Council direct staff to add $100,000 to the city manager's 2014 budget for communications. That was then, Councillor Twaddle brought a motion to table that until further discussion, which was passed unanimously, just to explain the order in which they went.
Thank you. The clerk's noted? Thank you. That's been noted. Councillor Wright.
So the motion will read as amended?
Thank you. Yes. Is there any further discussion to that set of minutes? All in favor? Opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you.
Second set, that the minutes of the public, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Twaddle, that the minutes of the public meeting held on November 4th, 2013, as printed, be adopted.
Thank you. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That motion is carried. 6C, please.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Twaddle, that the minutes of the regular meeting of council held on November 4th, 2013, as printed, be adopted.
Thank you. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That motion is carried. Thank you. A resolution moving council and committee of the whole, please.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Lemon, that City Council now go into committee of the whole to consider public meetings, deputations, public question period, matters arising from correspondence, reports, matters tabled, motions for which notice was previously given, and other business.
Thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. We're now in committee of the whole. We do have a public meeting. Our public meeting is with regards to stop up and close, declare surplus, and dispose of municipal property, Park Lot 6, Range 5, Owen Sound, Park Lot 35, roll number 16, R6702. And I would ask the clerk for comments.
Thank you, Your Worship. I will advise Council that notice was provided by mail on November 8th, 2013 to the adjacent landowners respecting the potential stopping up and closing, declaring surplus, and disposing of municipal property. The property has a frontage of 39 feet more or less and a depth of 242 feet more or less, and exists in location adjacent to 1389 16th Avenue East, Owen Sound. And you can see that on the key map, which is part of the public notice that is on our screen. Members of the public whose land may be prejudicially affected by a potential disposal were invited to comment on the stopping up and closing, declaring of surplus, and disposal. No comments were received respecting the notice prior to the agenda being published. However, we did receive one comment on November 14th after the agenda was published from NPET Realty. This set of comments was circulated to members of council and to the media. We'll also be making it available as part of our agenda when it is republished tomorrow morning. If there is anyone that will be making comments this evening, I would like to note that personal information will be collected under the authority of the Municipal Act 2001. The information is collected for the purpose of completing the disposal of surplus land process. It will form part of the public record, and if there are any questions about the collection, they can be addressed to myself, the City Clerk, Kristen Van Alphen.
Thank you so much. Is there any member of the public here this evening who would like to speak to this matter? please come to the podium and just, if you could state your name.
Good evening. My name is Cindy Prince, and I'm the representative of the abutting property owner being Seasons Retirement Home. We've brought this request before the council because of for a couple of reasons. First of all, as you may be aware, Seasons has made a section of the retirement home available to hospice to operate out of there on an interim basis while it is doing its fundraising and trying to get all that it needs to get in order to construct its own facility in the municipality. It looks like that process may take a little bit longer than what was initially thought, and Seasons wanted to be in a position to make its facility available for this purpose for as long as hospice needs it. The difficulty is, of course, that's put a little bit of strain on the parking situation on the Seasons site. We know that this property that's owned by the municipality is a spillway and provides for overland flow into the stormwater management pond to the rear. We have before the municipality a proposal to hard surface that area for parking purposes, but still maintain those functions as a spillway and as an overland flow route. I think it's sort of a real good opportunity. It cleans the site up a little bit. We would landscape it and hard surface it. We would maintain and perhaps even improve its current function of the stormwater management purposes. And it would help us help your community with respect to making additional parking available for the hospice facility. Those are the reasons we have the application before you, and we ask for council's favorable consideration to this request.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other members of the public here who would like to speak to this? Councillor Lemon?
Yes, Your Worship, I have a question, and that is the letter from Peter Van Dolder, which was alluded to earlier. There were some concerns in that letter. Will they be addressed in a report back to council before we make any disposition of the land?
Oh, yes, they will.
Are there any further comments from any members of staff on this matter tonight? Seeing none, I'll have a motion to close the public meeting. Moved by Councillor McManaman. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. We do have a few deputations this evening. I would like to invite our first guest is Donna Ladoucer, the Senior Director of Client Services from Community Care Access Centre Owen Sound, and I welcome you here this evening.
Thank you, Mayor Haswell and members of City Council for inviting me to come here to share about the Southwest CCAC. So to give you just a bit of an idea of what our vision is, it is to provide outstanding care to every person every day, and our mission is to deliver a seamless care experience through the healthcare system for people in our diverse communities, providing equitable access, individualized care coordination, and quality healthcare. What is our role in the healthcare system? Our role is to be able to get people the care that they need, to be able to stay well and heal at home and stay safely in their homes longer. When home is no longer an option, because for some people they cannot stay at home safely, then we are able to help support them to make a transition to other living arrangements. Many people that have the first point of contact with us, it is going to be through our care coordinators, and some of you may have heard of our care coordinators previously called case managers. And the reason we transitioned away from case manager is because really, people do not want to be called a case and they don't want to be managed. Care coordinator really talks more about the role that we have. So care coordinator is who you would have your first point of contact with. Nursing care, many people will traditionally understand that that's a role that we've played for a number of years, is being able to provide nursing in the home or in flex clinics to be able to provide support for people. Often around IV therapy, medical monitoring, watching and helping people monitor their medications. Personal support, again, personal support is really focused around those higher level activities for patients, more around their personal care needs, hygiene needs, exercise programs. As well, therapy and support to help people feel better and to be able to do more, including physiotherapy, occupational therapy, speech language therapy, and nutrition services. Social work. We also have social work available for people around those practical and emotional support during difficult times. We know that we encounter many people that are really vulnerable in the healthcare system, whether it's when they're transitioning into long-term care or making adjustments to their compromised health status. Medical supplies. As long as patients are receiving support through the CCAC, their medical supplies, if that's dressing supplies, they're provided while they're with us. As well, their drug coverage is supplied while they're with us through the Ontario Drug Benefits Program. Equipment, we provide equipment on a monthly basis. So for the first month that people are home from an acute care facility, we provide that equipment for a month. If they need equipment longer term, then we work with them to either find out if they're able to purchase the equipment, or sometimes we'll work with them if they're financially not able to do that. Perhaps there's service clubs, and there's often service clubs that are able to help people with their medical equipment. We also, in our role as system navigation and care coordination, work with patients and their families about getting them connected to other resources out there in the community. Because it isn't just about CCAC services. For people that are going to be long-term at home and as they age, they need many other supports, whether that's the adult day program, whether that's Meals on Wheels, whether that's visiting hospice programs. So it takes a whole village and community to really be able to wrap around people. Again, connections to primary care. We also have a program called the Healthcare Connectors that is about connecting people up to new primary care physicians. A new role for us over the last 2 years is being connecting people to rehabilitation. And that is around, we are the single point of access for people looking for access into beds for rehabilitation and complex continuing care, as well as assisted living supportive housing, and our long-term traditional role around supporting people as they go into long-term care. One exciting thing for this area is we embarked on a study with our LHIN partners looking at where complex continuing care beds are located in the Southwest LHIN area. And as a part of that work, there will be 10 new complex continuing care beds that will be located at Grey Bruce Health Services. So that's a really exciting move, I believe, for the residents of this area. We also have a large school program that supports children with disabilities and children and youth with mental health and addiction challenges. So we've been involved with children in the school system for many, many years around OT, physio, and then those medically compromised children that would have to have a nurse with them as they go to school. But a new venture for us over the last year has been, we have mental health and addiction nurses. We have one per school board, which isn't a lot, but the focus of those nurses is really on that transition for youth as they come out of the hospital system and back into the school system. So we know that many youth have problems with depression, suicide attempts, so we help them transition back into the school and help to support the education system as well about how to support those youth come back into school. Hospice palliative care in Grey Bruce. We are a key partner with the development, certainly of the residential hospice here in the Grey Bruce area. We do the single point of access for that program, and I'm very happy to say that they're running at full occupancy many days of the week now, so that's a real asset and a real added component to the residents of this area. Again, we help support the healing and wellness programs to ensure that people get transitioned over to those programs. We're just working as a pilot project right now that'll be launching in this area, which is the first across the Southwest LHIN, a Grey Bruce Integrated Hospice Palliative Care Outreach Program. And that's a program designed for those people that don't want to go to a residential hospice, really want to remain at home as long as they can, or in long-term care. How can we ensure that those patients and staff have access to secondary level experts for palliative care? Again, we also work very diligently to try and make those right referrals to the VON volunteer program. We also have a program called eShift that I'll talk about a little bit later. Primary care, we've been very successful, and this map just shows where the practices are located in your Grey Bruce area. We've have care coordinators attached with all of those primary care offices. And why is that important to the residents? What happens is the care coordinator works really closely with those family physicians and their team, and they review on a regular basis mutual clients, but they also, while they're doing that review, a family physician may say, you know, so-and-so's struggling. I wonder if it might be good for them to have a referral to CCAC, and we're able to try and get in there a little bit earlier to be able to support people differently at home. This is just a bit of data about who we are across the Southwest. Every year we would serve about 60,000 clients per year, so 1 in 17 people living in the Southwest. And when we look at our data, we always say about a half of our clients are going to reside in the south part of the Lynn area because of that large urban center, as well as the academic tertiary care center is there. And then there would be the remaining quarter, there will be about a quarter that are in the central area here in Perth, and then a quarter will be in Grey Bruce. Every month we help more than 1,600 clients get from hospital to home, which is a real vulnerable transition point for clients and families. We help about 200 clients find a place in a long-term care home every month, and we receive about 3,500 referrals every month for home care. And we provide services to more than 20,000 clients a month. 93% of our patients receive their first CCAC visit within 5 days of returning home from hospital. And you'll see a lot, I believe, over the next while, you'll see lots of media attention around that. There has been lots of attention around hospital wait times and access to hospital. It really is time for us to look at the community and understand, are we being responsive to be able to meet those patients' needs? 94% of our patients are satisfied or very satisfied with the care they receive, and we spend less than 4% of our budget on administration costs. So care coordination, what can a care coordinator provide for families and patients? They are all regulated health professionals. It happens to be that about 97% of our care coordinators are nurses by background. And they visit regularly, face-to-face or telephone assessments for our patients. And they really work with patients and families about working with them to understand what are the care needs that need to be in place for people to be able to stay at home as long as they can safely. And then when that time comes that they aren't safe at home, what are the other options out there for people? We work closely with family doctors, hospitals, community organizations, and others to support patients. And again, this is about working with patients and their families and caregivers to understand challenges and co-create strategies. For us as CCAC, it's a real honor and privilege to be able to go into clients and families' homes. It's very, very different than treating people in an acute care environment. And I remember this very clearly several years ago. I was working in an acute care environment, and this gentleman came in for symptom management, and he was a bit disheveled, and his clothes weren't real clean, and he wasn't tidy looking. And I can remember one of the nurses on the floor saying, like, what do you people do with these folks at home? Why don't you just throw them in the bathtub and clean them up? And I said, but that's the difference about community care. We're in people's homes. They get a choice about how they live in their home. And he had always only bathed once a week, so that's his right. We're in there in their home as a guest. We have patients that choose to live at risk, and we have to honor and support that. Care Innovations, we have an intensive home care team that's made up of 40 registered nurses. We have nurse practitioners, rapid response nurses, our mental health and addiction nurses, and they are all wrapping around our more complex clients. Care Innovations, Health Links in the Grey Bruce area. You're just starting down the path of Health Links, and that is really that hub model where we're looking, and you'll have one in Grey and one in Bruce, and it's really about all the healthcare professionals coming together, focused around primary care, and all of us coming together to talk about how are we going to support those most complex patients. And one of the big care innovations we've had is a program called eShift. And this program really started to be one of the most difficult things for CCAC to do is to provide overnight shift nursing. And it started particularly around our medically complex kiddies. And what happens when those children first go home from hospital, there's a real distinct need for a nurse in the home. But then as their care needs lessen, we knew that a PSW in there overnight could support them. But families have got real used to having an RN. And it's hard then to make that transition to a PSW. So we worked with this company that came up with, if we have the PSWs and they have extra training and support, we can have a nurse that works remotely and she can monitor those PSWs in 4 homes at the same time. The PSWs have extra training. This is all done through iPhone technology, and we've had tremendous success. We have a number of people up in the Grey Bruce area that are supported with this technology, and we've actually moved it out into our palliative population, and we've had tremendous success. Again, Home First has been in Grey Bruce Health Services for quite some time. It's a philosophical approach to care differently. Often we would see if a patient went into the emergency room and they were elderly and they were frail and the families had been struggling, the first words out of a doctor's mouth or one of the nurses in the emerge, for no malintent, was, "It's time to go to a nursing home." Well, that does 2 things. It takes away the hope of the patient, and then the family goes, okay, the only place for them is long-term care. So now what happens, instead of that being the first words, it's, well, let's see what we need to put in place to be able to get you back home if that's what we need to do. So we've had significant success. What that does, instead of people sitting in the hospital beds waiting for a long-term care, if that's needed where they go, we get them back home, so people that need acute care can get acute care. Again, for people that are looking for information about resources and health resources, I would encourage anyone that has access to a computer to go on the southwesthealthline.ca. It really does provide a listing of all the community resources in all the communities supported through this Southwest LHIN geography. So that's a snapshot of the services we provide to the residents of Grey Bruce. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this presentation. I would expect that there'll be some council members that may have a question or a comment. Councillor Wright.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That was good information. Thanks very much. I have just 2 questions for you. What is your budget?
Our budget right now, it'll be about $202 million.
$202 million. And where does the money come from? Does the LHINs give you
Well,
your money?
it flows from the Ministry of Health to the LHINs.
Down to the LHINs, and
right.
then the LHINs
And then the LHINs distribute it to us.
to you.
Right. The same as so in this catchment area, so in our Southwest LHIN, their budget is, I think it's about $2.2 billion.
Right.
$1.2 billion is LHSC in
Right.
the South. And then the rest is distributed across all of the community sector.
Right.
And long-term cares.
Okay. Okay. So do you do in fact work under the umbrella of the LHINs?
We do. We as well as all community supports hospitals. The only thing that works outside the LHIN in the healthcare sector is public health and physicians.
Right. Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion or questions, comments? Councillor Lemon.
Well, having used your services, I really appreciate what goes on and how they are administered. I think this is a valuable asset to our community because sometimes people are hospitalized, and coming out of the hospital is a wee bit of a shock, and there are things they have to adjust. And my first experience was a number of years ago when I had a problem after an operation, and I had to have IV, and I had someone come in twice a day to put me on a bag of whatever. It was awful looking sort of stuff, but it helped. I'm here and I'm healthy. But I think to provide care in the home is very, very desirable. It's good economics as well. I don't know what the cost per day at the Owen Sound Regional Health or the Grey Bruce Regional Health Center is, but it's a lot less expensive and provides, I think, a better level of care if people can be in the home rather than sitting there waiting. Mm-hmm. And I know years ago of people waiting for a long, long time to find a bed, mm-hmm. and taking up acute beds for long-term care. And I think it's good economics and it's a good community service. Thank you.
Councillor Purdon.
Yes, thank you very much. That was very, very informative to have that overview. I just was curious to know about how you feel the services operate in terms of wait times for people for the transitions, just pressures, if there's any pressures that we should be aware of in our community that we could be prepared to help.
Well, I mean, I think we have wait lists for long-term care facilities depending on the long-term care facility. And that's a phenomena that happens in your area as well as across the Southwest. It is patient choice. So sometimes there'll be long-term care homes that have empty beds, and then we have too many people waiting for the other beds. So that's always a challenge, is for people that are really tight on the home they want to go to, they may have to wait a lengthier period of time. We don't have any wait lists for any of the programs that we currently support. The one thing that I would say across all of the Southwest that we all have to be aware of, and that doesn't matter whether you're a hospital or you're a CCAC, is the human resource capacity and being able to recruit nurses, PSWs, all of that level. I think that's something that we as a healthcare sector all need to be aware of. So to me, that is the risk. We need to constantly watch on that recruitment of that level of staff.
Thank you. A few more questions?
Sure.
Okay. Councillor Chamberlain?
Yes, around that recruitment part, I understand your offices have been moved into the family health team on the 3rd floor?
Yes.
So that's quite accessible for people, and that's where they go if they want to get a job with you.
It is, and we're very pleased to be in that. We weren't in the greatest of space, and it was our lease was up, so we had the opportunity to move in with the family health team, which has been wonderful for us, because it's great if they have patients in their office, they just come up to the 3rd floor. So it's been a real great move for us.
Thank you. That's great.
Any other members of council? Well, I would like to thank you so much for coming this evening and sharing all the information. Community Care Access Center is absolutely a gem in this community in particular, and having had quite a bit of experience recently with a family member and the tremendous service that was provided by CCAC and the PSWs and the care providers, I can tell you that it was absolutely invaluable in keeping a loved one at home, and they were able to die at home and with tremendous support around them. So CCAC is one of those community services that is worth its weight in gold from my perspective. Thank you so much. And now we move along to a very exciting moment. I'm going to just jump down to the podium. The City of Owen Sound takes great pride in presenting the Senior of the Year Award for 2013 to Jean Wilson. The Senior of the Year Award was established in 1994 to provide municipalities an opportunity to honor one outstanding local senior. Recipients are individuals who have enriched the social, cultural, or civic life of the community without thought of personal or financial gain. The certificate is provided by the Ontario government and is signed by the Honourable David C. Onley, Lieutenant Governor of Ontario, and Mario Sergio, the Minister responsible for seniors, and myself, Mayor Deborah Haswell. Jean has been a member of Quota International for several years. Several years. How many years? 15 years. Where she has served in a variety of positions, including president, has led many committees, including the Christmas gift wrapping, bingos, breakfast club at Sydenham School, the Yellow Ribbon Campaign, and so many more. Jean is an active participant in St. George's Church and has been active in St. George's activities for over 18 years, helping with Sunday school, junior choir, and various committees and fundraisers. For over 20 years, Jean has delivered Meals on Wheels. Jean has volunteered with the Women's Shelter, Grey Roots Museum, and most recently with the O'Share Project. Jean has also been involved with girls minor softball as both the president and as a coach. Jean is an OSCVI alumni member since 1981, organizing events such as reunions and bike rallies. Recently, many of you will remember, Jean was recognized for her volunteering with the City of Owen Sound. Jean was recognized and received the Volunteer of the Year Award from the city. Jean is an exceptional example of a citizen who has enriched the social, cultural, and civic life of Owen Sound. Jean volunteers with enthusiasm and has the ability to inspire others. Please join me as we express our congratulations to Jean Wilson, Owen Sound's 2013 Senior of the Year Award. Jean?
First of all, I have some thank yous to say, and a thank you to the City of Owen Sound. But to say that this is overwhelming is definitely the understatement of the year. I just about fell off my chair when Brenda Daly called me about this one. A thank you also to my quota club, which nominated me for the Volunteer of the Year Award, and this has led to this, I presume. I also want to make a couple of other thank yous. I want to say a big thank you to my husband, Bob, who is my greatest supporter and has been for a lot of years. And I would like to say a thank you to my late sister, Ruth Balrose. Ruth did so many things for so many people, never belonged to an organization, but in her own quiet way worked for so many people. She has always been my inspiration and my hero. Once again, thank you so much.
Congratulations, Jean, and we will be seeing you in the community, I'm sure, for years and years to come, volunteering at a myriad of things. I look forward to seeing you. Thank you, and congratulations on behalf of City Council. Thank you very much. Thank you. And everyone, you may stay for the entire meeting, or I sensed. Thank you for coming. And Diane Foulds, the Community Outreach Coordinator from Owen Sound Museums, with regards to the Victorian Christmas Open House.
Yes, we started decorating the Billy Bishop Museum today.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Haswell and councillors. We started decorating the Billy Bishop Open Museum today for the Victorian Christmas Open House, which is on the 24th, this Sunday, from 1 to 4. So once again, Kira MacArthur will be there with her, with the youth orchestra, the string quartet. They'll be playing from 1 to 4. We have home baked goods. We also have hot apple cider. So we invite everybody to come out and enjoy and experience what Christmas was like in the Victorian era at the Billy Bishop Home Museum. And thank you to all the staff and the volunteers who decorated today. I was not one of them. I couldn't be there. So thank you to all of them. And the house will be decorated, well, obviously starting tomorrow until the end of December. I also wanted one more thing. The Tree of Remembrance is lit, so to pay tribute to those who have served and sacrificed. So the Tree of Remembrance is lit for the festive season at the Billy Bishop Home and Museum. And if you would like to honor a loved one or somebody that has sacrificed and that served in the military. So if you would like to pay tribute to them, it's a cost of $25 per veteran, and you can purchase a bulb that will be illuminated on our tree. So there are 3 ways that you can purchase a bulb. You can visit the museum during our regular hours. You can call the museum at 371-0031 to make a purchase over the phone, or you can email Diane Sprung, our office manager, at dsprung@owensound.ca.
That's a well-attended event, the Victorian Christmas Open House.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Any comments or questions from council? We'll look forward to seeing
Thank you.
everyone Sunday at the Billy Bishop Museum.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
And it appears as though no one is here to ask a question. We will move to correspondence. We have 2 pieces of correspondence. One is a letter from the President of AMO, Association of Municipalities of Ontario, with an overview of the impact of the federal gas tax and suggested motion, or a suggested letter to be addressed to our Member of Parliament. I brought this to Council for your direction. Councillor Wright.
I think that's very nice that we got a letter from the President of AMO. I'm quite sure that our mayor and staff are capable of sending their own letters of thanks out and information. Motion to receive.
Thank you. Further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? 1 opposed. That motion is carried. Thank you. We also have a letter from Ontario Good Roads Association looking for nominees. Again, bring this to council for your direction. Anybody interested? Motion to receive would be in order. Moved by Councillor McManaman. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion is carried. We have a consent agenda which has quite a few items on it. If I could ask the clerk to put it up on the screen, and people watching at home, please know that the consent agenda is available on the city's website. Councillor Chamberlain.
Yes, I would be pleased to move the consent agenda, but could I speak to 12A10, the minutes from the Downtown Improvement Association? Just one little item on there I'd like to speak to.
Go ahead, sure.
Go ahead now?
Yeah.
Okay, they're in the minutes. There is a presentation there of speaking with Danelda Stewart, who came forward to talk with the DIA about their background and work with the Festival of Northern Lights. And last year, when it was the 25th anniversary, she thought that maybe it needed to have some recognition of the long term that the DIA has supported. And it came to council, and in the minutes it says that we didn't plan on a plaque, but we did want to put a story in next year. It actually says store in the minutes, and I'd like it just pointed out that that should be story. And but it was a very nice refresher for the DIA to go over all of the background and of all those years of support.
That's true.
Okay, thank you.
Good point. Councillor McManaman.
Thank you, Worship. I had a question about those same set of minutes for Councillor Lemon. It speaks to the minutes about a sponsorship request made by the councillor on behalf of the Community Waterfront Centre, asking the DIA for sponsorship, and I just wonder if the councillor could address those comments in the minutes.
I'll defer to Councillor Lemon. Councillor Lemon, you may or may not want to respond.
There was some discussion of that quite a while ago, and that was before they formed the board as it's now structured.
Councillor McManaman.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you. Further discussion to any of the minutes or items within the consent agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? That motion is carried. We are at reports. We have a report from the city manager with regards to Owen Sound Police Service proposals to other municipalities for police services. That report begins on page 90 of your package this evening, or any evening. Councillor Purdon.
I'd move the recommendation from the city manager. I wondered if we needed a little overview for the public.
We have the motion on the floor. Would council like an overview? I'll ask the city manager if we could just have a brief verbal overview of the report, please.
Thank you, Your Worship, members of council. This report was requested by council, given that our Police Services Board are looking at a proposal to the municipality of Meaford to provide services. What we've attempted to do in this report is to really look at what are the items that this council needs to be satisfied with as a proposal moves forward. So what we did was state that the starting point for that discussion should be the fundamental premise that any proposal for service to another municipality should not in any way negatively affect service provision in the city of Owen Sound. And we also note that it's important to recognize that the current Owen Sound Police Service has been built up over a number of years and includes assets that have been paid for through taxation. These would include such things as buildings, vehicles, equipment, and intellectual property. They are significant in value, and arguably they will depreciate over time and potentially could depreciate more rapidly if there are higher levels of use. So that's the foundation that we went forward from. So the following principles we believe should be considered when reviewing any proposal for service to any other municipality. It's not specific just to the Meaford circumstance. The first is that there should be a specific charge to a contracted municipality to recover a reasonable amount of the long-term investment made by the Owen Sound taxpayer in the Owen Sound Police Services. And as I previously indicated, that could include things such as buildings, communication and other equipment, administration staff, etc. And that should be clearly defined for City Council and should be recognized in the city's police services annual budget. The second principle was that all wages should be charged out at a rate sufficient to cover the contingent severance policies for municipalities hired under this agreement. Current best practices in this regard should be the benchmark, and future adjustments may be required as necessary. And the third was that the contingent severance charge should be placed into a reserve and should not be used to offset current costs within the Owen Sound Police Services budget. The fourth principle that we identified was that any variation in services or levels of services applied to a contracted municipality from that currently in place for the City of Owen Sound would need to be specified and be supported by the City of Owen Sound. This would avoid any potential ratcheting up of service levels across municipalities. So for instance, if Meaford wanted an additional service, there'd be considerable pressure, we believe, for this council to consider that level of service within the City of Owen Sound as well. The fifth was that all costs associated with the provision of service to a contracted municipality that are required to provide that service must be payable by the contracted municipality. So it's a pay-as-you-go for that service. This includes such liabilities as insurance, legal fees for defense, WSIB, short and long-term disability costs, etc. And fundamentally, City of Owen Sound taxpayers should not be responsible for any costs that are associated with the provision of police services to or for the contracted municipality. So those are the fundamental principles that we believe should be applied when we look at any proposal for service that, as indicated previously in the report, will require the approval of this council as it moves forward.
Thank you. Discussion. Councillor Adair.
I just have a question about item number 4. Presently, the OPP are policing in Meaford, and they have a different level of service than what we have in the more urban environment of Owen Sound. So I would suspect that what Meaford is looking at is replacing the OPP level of service with the same level of service, and that I just want to be clear with item number 4 that talks about level of service, that we're not proposing that anything the Owen Sound Police Services Board proposes to Meaford has to be at the same level of service as Owen Sound.
If I could, Your Worship, through to the Councillor, in this, we've been careful to note that what we're saying is that that service, change in service would have to be specified and have to be specifically supported by the City of Owen Sound. So it could be a modification, a variation because of geography or some other particular need in that municipality.
Councillor Dare, did you have any? Okay, Councillor McManaman.
Thank you, Your Worship, and to the City Manager. Do you have any idea on timing of these discussions?
I know that they're ongoing currently, and so I would anticipate that depending on what occurs with this report, that we would be able to have a report back fairly shortly.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That motion is carried. We have a report from the clerk, city clerk, with regards to the optical scan tabulators for the next municipal election and elections going forward after that. Councillor Adair.
Move the recommendation that we, in respecting the contract of leasing the optical scanners.
Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. We have a report from the purchasing department with regards to consulting services for the water treatment plant and booster stations. This is, Mr. McRoberts, perhaps you could just give an overview to council in terms of what is this consulting package exactly?
Yes, certainly can, through your worship. This is a package that basically would provide an inventory of the equipment that's within our water treatment plant, would allow us to be able to determine what its condition is, when it will need to be replaced, so that we can essentially have develop our asset management plans, but also in 2014, which is next year, we're going to have to update our financial plans, and that'll be included in that input, included as input into that process. So this will basically provide us. We did the similar type of asset condition plan to our wastewater treatment plant when we initiated the process to begin the upgrades. So we knew what the condition of certain equipment was, whether it needed to be replaced, and whether or not we would keep it in the upgrades.
Thank you. What's council's direction on this item? There's a recommendation. Councillor Burden?
I'd move the recommendation and awarding the contract to Conestoga Rovers? Conestoga Rovers and Associates.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion. Councillor McManaman?
Thank you, Worship. This proposal is not for the lowest bidder, and I'm just wondering if Mr. McRoberts could touch on, there was quite a difference in the technical scores between the one they're recommending and the lowest fee. Just maybe you could give us some background on that, because I'm just wondering, an asset management, looking at our assets, it doesn't appear that would be, to the uneducated person like myself, it doesn't appear that would be that difficult by any engineering firm. So why the wide difference in the scores?
I would suggest that the difference is, a difference like that significant of a technical difference in the proposal would signify probably a pretty substantial difference between their abilities. It is important. There are a lot of mechanisms where they're going to have to test some of our in-house pipe while it's in service. So they'll have to use certain instruments that will work appropriately without basically damaging the integrity of that pipe while it's in service. So it is a pretty critical task to make sure that it's being done properly while the plant's being operated in service. And the three individuals who reviewed the proposals and scored them felt that that the CRA J.L. Richards proposal was the strongest from a technical perspective.
Councillor Body? No? Okay. Certainly, when it comes to a water treatment plant, we want to ensure the best expertise available. We have a motion. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. We have a report from Community Services, and this is an agreement for operation of market kitchen at the farmers market. It's council's direction on this. Councillor Chamberlain?
Yes, I'd like to move the recommendation of this report.
Further discussion. Councillor McMenamin.
Sorry, just a quick question for the director. The recommendation says for up to 6 months this would last for. Your report says that they're planning on only doing it till the end of December.
Through you, Your Worship, you're correct. The request that came in says up until December. I said, well, rather than them deciding in December that it worked really well and wanting to continue on, we'd sort of approve it for up to 6 months to allow us a time to monitor and evaluate how it was running. So rather than them coming back, but you're correct, it's up until December. So if you wanted to change the timing, I know they're a little later getting started than what they'd hoped, but that was really just, I just put in up to 6 months to save coming back to this council for further approval.
Councillor Body?
Thank you, Your Worship. I have some concerns about this. We have a food truck that's in town that is quite popular, doing quite well. Now we've got somebody setting up in a city-owned building to run a business in direct competition with taxpayers that have had to pay money to set up their restaurants, have had to advertise, have got business taxes, have got property taxes, have got DIA fees, etc. And I have concerns that somebody has an upper leg, a leg up, an advantage by moving into a city building. I'm going to support this motion. When I got down to Mr. Pink's letter that he talked about it being an incubator type situation, that we're trying to start a business that if it works they can move on their own, find something new. I'm really making my comments now so that in 6 months if they want a full-time lease, I'm going to be very concerned about how long it goes and whether we're being fair to our other taxpayers that are operating restaurants in our town, and we're giving somebody an advantage by being a city business building. So I'm really making my comments 6 months in advance, but I think we need to be concerned about allowing people to set up businesses in competition that isn't fair competition.
Further discussion. Councillor Purdon. Oh, Councillor Wright. I'm sorry, I'm going back. Councillor Wright did. Thought you had.
Thank you. And I tend to agree with Councillor Body on the points that he made. But I guess I thought, and I'm sure that we have leased that market building to the Market Association. Mm-hmm. So they're the ones that, I mean, if they're responsible, they're the ones that are saying whether or not this business can go in, right? But here we are saying that it's okay. What? Tell me.
Staff can respond to that. The market does have, the city does have the final word.
Through you, Your Worship, the agreement with the Market Association states a number of things that are permitted in the building. So it includes things like the farmers market, community auction, rummage sales, craft sales, fundraisers for the improvement and renovation of the market, community events sanctioned by the city, so Friday night was a great example, and then it says, and those activities approved by the city. So that's why the request is here and before council.
So we are approving it, but they are supporting that. I mean, they are in agreement that that can go ahead. I do have some concerns over it too, the same concerns as my friend has, but he's well stated them. They're only going to be in it, by the look of this, till the end of December. So, I guess.
Councillor Purdon and then Councillor Twaddle.
I was really happy to see this. I think it's a really great example of two young Owen Sounders who are being entrepreneurs and bringing Mexican food to the downtown. I hope there'll be ways to have this pilot work. And for anyone who hasn't eaten their food, it's absolutely fantastic. They catered for my son's fundraiser for the World University's cross-country skiing thing that he's going to, and the food is really great. I think this is a great example of young people trying to offer something new and different in the downtown core. I certainly understand the concerns from Councillor Boddy and Councillor Wright in terms of the competition aspect, but I'm hoping that there's ways to encourage this kind of activity in the downtown, and in particular in the market building that stands empty most of the time. So I'm in favor of giving these young entrepreneurs a chance.
Thank you. Councillor Twaddle.
Thank you. This is starting to sound like the great ethnic food truck debate that's been raging in Toronto for so many years, and there's just been a huge fight around that. Although we have to approve it technically, and we own the building, we lease it to the Market Vendors Association. Technically, it's their building. It's all their equipment that they're going to use, that they have invested the money in. If there are taxes paid on that building, it's paid by the Market Vendors Association. So I think the issue of competition is not ours to determine. I mean, the Market Vendors Association is a legitimate business operating in the city of Owen Sound. And they do own, they put a significant investment into that kitchen that they put in there to make it available for just this type of service, including, I believe at one point, although I'm not sure how much it's being used right now, for individuals who were unable at home to meet public health requirements and would have access to a kitchen where they could do things that met public health requirements. So I think it is incorrect to characterize this as the city of Owen Sound providing an opportunity for unfair competition. It's really not our facility, although we do have, because of our agreement with the Market Vendors Association, we have to approve it, but it's not us providing the facility, it's the Market Vendors Association.
Thank you. Councillor Lemon.
Oh, I'm going back quite a few years to when I was on the market, actually president of the Market Vendors Association, and I think the only tax paid is on the residents. I don't think it's paid for on the rest of the building. I'm not sure, but if memory serves me right, it's not a tax paying, they don't pay taxes on that except on the residential portion, because the rest is, I think, deemed to be in public interest or something under some agricultural act.
We'll just check in with the Director of Community Services on that point.
Through you, Your Worship, the councillor's correct. However, if MPAC deemed that taxes were to be assessed because of the operation of this use in the facility, the agreement provides that the cost of that would be paid by the Market Vendors Association. So those taxes would be paid if MPAC deems that to be so.
And the other thing was a comment which was made earlier about that building being vacant most of the time. It's actually in use on many, many different times for a diverse group of organizations, including some that are very much community-oriented in terms of helping people with alcohol abuse and things like that. Over the years, it's been used for a lot of things.
All those in favor? Opposed? That motion is carried. A good discussion, and no doubt the food truck issue continues for many of the reasons Councillor Boddy stated, to be a bit of a fly in the ointment for many of our 365-day-a-year restaurateurs. And like so many industries, restaurants too are faced with an incredible ocean of change in how business is done, and certainly it's up to the marketplace to correct itself. We have a report from the engineering services with regards to Rogers Communications and access to install telecommunications equipment in city streets. I think this is a fairly straightforward plan. We like to be connected. Councillor Adair.
Your Worship, move the recommendation.
Thank you. Further discussion, Councillor Lemon.
Through your worship to the engineering department, a couple of years ago, a large amount of conduit was installed on 3rd Avenue East from north of 10th Street, I believe, to 8th or 7th Street. And part of the purpose of that was to put the hydro lines underground, and most of them have gone underground. But there still continues to be some, I believe it's Rogers, it could be Beltel, I don't know for sure because I don't know that much about cables, that have not yet been moved underground, and my understanding is that they put conduit in for them. Could we get, as part of this, an update on the status of that?
Certainly, I can get you an update. I am aware of the fact that when hydro service was put underground on 3rd Avenue between 8th and 10th Street, there is still Bell lines up on the poles. I'm not sure whether Rogers with that line, but certainly it is Bell for sure. But certainly I can bring forward an update or provide council an update on what the status of what underground utilities are in that corridor.
Yeah, it's just that we were going to be taking down the existing poles and putting in new ones, but as long as Bell is stretched along there, whoever, that can't go ahead.
Thank you.
Councillor Lemon, would a verbal update at the next council meeting be satisfactory? Maybe under other business? Thanks. Thank you.
Absolutely.
We have a motion or a recommendation. What is council's direction? Councillor Lemon, did you want to move the recommendation?
Yes, I would move the recommendation.
Oh, I'm sorry. Councillor Adair did already.
Okay, that's
And
fine.
how quickly I forgot.
Well, age.
Councillor Adair, I recognize the motion. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. We have minutes from the Accessibility Committee. Councillor Adair.
Actually, Worship, I'll move all the sets of minutes for the Accessibility Committee, the Bylaw Committee, CPAC, and the Cultural Advisory Committee.
Okay. Any discussion to any of the items within any of those minutes? Councillor Purdon.
Just in the Cultural Advisory Committee, there was talking about speaking to the cultural awards and letting people know that that is upcoming. No, December 9th is the deadline for the Cultural Awards nominations.
Thank you. Further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That motion is carried. We have two sets of in-camera meeting minutes for approval. Item D12 is council's direction. Oh, I'm sorry, yes. 12D1 is approval. Councillor Lemon.
So move that we approve the in-camera.
All those in favor? Opposed? That motion is carried. Item 12E, minutes of in-camera meeting for receipt. This is from municipal nonprofit housing. Council's direction. Councillor Lemon? All those...
Moving to approve, or receive in that
Receive.
case.
All those in favor? Opposed? That motion is carried. We are at other business. We have a number of speakers to other business. Councillor Chamberlain.
Yes, I'll start. It was very nice that Pastor Kennedy did mention about the service that some of the organizations did, and he did mention the Kiwanis Club, and that's what I wanted to mention because I was present on Friday when they gave their last installment on the Harrison Park some playground, and of course they're not finished because they're going to now start on another playground up by the new Julie MacArthur Regional Rec Center. But I did want to just say how delighted I was with the parade and the efforts that go into that. I was in the parade this year and got to see how well organized it was. and how every Kiwanian had a part in it. And I was told this was one of their first years without Al Kelly, and was a very special year for them all. And it was just very well attended. I got to see that firsthand. You did yourself. It was a very wonderful weekend that we had in Owen Sound. So that's what I wanted to talk about.
Thank you. Councillor Purdon.
Yes, I just wanted to bring council and the public's attention to November 25th, which is the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women. And there will be an honoring of women and the Stolen Sisters as well, put on by the Women's Centre and Women's House at the Market Square on November the 25th from 2 to 4 in the afternoon. There'll be free chili and apple cider, and it looks like it's going to be a very, very nice way of coming together to look at ways to eliminate violence against women. And it's part of a larger campaign for the month of November called Shine the Light on Women Abuse. And everybody is to wear purple, so I wore my purple shirt. So they're asking people in the community to light up their houses or wear purple to just bring awareness to violence against women. This is a campaign that's going across the province, and they're chosen the color purple because it's a symbol of courage, survival, and honor, and it's come to symbolize the fight to end woman abuse. So those are all things happening in our 2 counties and in Owen Sound in the month of November.
Thank you. Councillor Lemon.
Thank you, Your Worship. In respect to the meeting on Wednesday, I understand there are maps now of the proposed transit routes. Are they going to be held so that people can't see them until the meeting, or are they now available? And that's the first part of my question.
Sure.
Through your worship, those routes, there'll be 3 routes basically prepared. They're not quite final yet. We're doing some just final little refinements to it. The routes are basically there, but we're just making sure we have all the information on there and correct. So they'll be first available on our website and at the public meeting on Wednesday.
But not until Wednesday?
Not until Wednesday, no.
It's just that in such a momentous decision and people's comments, I'm hoping that we will invite comments after the meeting, because quite frankly, it will take people time to digest them, and in the time given according to the schedule on the agenda for the meeting, they're really only going to have a cursory look at them before they're asked to comment.
If I may, Worship, I can give a council and the public maybe a quick synopsis of how the meeting might go on Wednesday. Certainly we'll go through the wealth of information that we got through the public consultation so far. But we'll also present 3 routes, but we'll also give people the opportunity to vote on those options. And that voting process will extend for a certain period of time, so they can pick their preferred route. They don't need to pick it at the meeting. They can submit a form that will be part of an information package that they will have at that meeting. And they can submit that form by the 25th of November, which gives them a few days, including the weekend, to review the 3 routes and look at it and consider what they may want as their preferred route option.
What happens if they don't like any of the routes? And that's a very, like the first routes that we were given didn't work on a lot of levels, and I'm hoping there's been improvement as a result of public input. But my concern is not everybody who uses the transit system will be able to be at that meeting. Anybody who's working 9 to 5, they can't attend that meeting, and we know from our that a lot of people who do work use the transit system. And so will they be able to get those questionnaires online and the maps online so they can vote?
Yes, they will be able to. The online version of those maps will be available, as well as an opportunity for them to vote online. We'll also have full-size plans of each of the routes at the terminal with some ballot sheets there as well that people can complete and fill out. So they'll basically do the 3 opportunities over the course of that week. for people to look and select their preferred option.
And the other question I've got in respect to this will be the unveiling. When the recommendation comes forward from the public meeting, normally it's come to council first, but in this case it's obviously not. Will there be an additional meeting afterwards when once the decision is made where the public may comment for or against what has been recommended?
That would be, yeah, thank you. That would be a process that council would have to consider at the next council meeting, and I would suggest that we not presume or make any presumptions, prior to the meeting on Wednesday, where I think this really sounds like an opportunity for the transit riders to create a transit system they want. And I think that the process is really serving the transit riders quite directly, in that they will be able to really design the transit system they want to see. And I am confident that those members will speak out, and I'm confident that you will too. And I'm confident that if we need another meeting, we will have one.
It's just that a lot of people were not satisfied after the first meeting. They felt that there was not the opportunity as a normal public meeting. This time, hopefully, there will be, and people will be able to speak publicly about what they feel about it. I'm just disappointed that there wasn't more time for people to see the maps in advance. I think that is not great. As an example, under the Planning Act, we are required to put as we saw tonight, a key map in the newspaper. We're required by law to do that. In this case, people are going to be going to the meeting with no idea of what is in the routes. And that is, I don't think, really great.
Councillor Purdon, did you wanted to comment, or you had another item?
I just had a question about the transit public meeting coming up as well. Just for clarification on the voting, is this a yay-nay vote that's being suggested? I'm just curious about that.
Through you, city manager, saying that voting maybe is not the appropriate word. Really, what I'm looking for is people to select their preferred alternative.
Thank you very much for the clarification.
I expect there will be ample opportunity for members of the community that are there to speak their views. Councillor Wright.
Clarification, you said it's only open until the 25th?
That's what we proposed, yes. That would be about 5 or 6 days after the meeting.
That's cutting it fine.
Councillor Wright.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just, first of all, I want to say, anybody that couldn't find anything to do on the weekend in Owen Sound wasn't looking, believe me. Friday night was such a great night downtown. The people were so buoyant and up, and it was just a wonderful night down there. I think the weather probably had a lot to do with it, because it was great weather. Unfortunately, I didn't see the fireworks, but I heard them, and I heard that they were absolutely wonderful from many people. And to see all the people on the street after the lights were lit was wonderful. Some of the stores were very crowded. I won't even name the store where all the kids headed after the fireworks, but you could hardly get into that store after it. And then I want to say, we have such a wonderful thing with the Owen Sound Little Theatre here in our city. It's just amazing where all the talent comes from. The play that they have now running is exceptional. It's a very, very difficult play to put on, and they have done an exceptional job with a huge cast, and it's just they need to be commended for the work they've done on that play. So we're very fortunate to have it, and I think back over this city, and I know it's just you just feel so good about it, but we have so many good things going for us it's no wonder we won the cultural award. No surprise at all.
Well said. It certainly was. It was an exciting weekend, and it was fun to live here. It was fun to visit here, and we truly are fortunate and very lucky. I would like to bring to council's attention the fundraising event that is being held on Friday the 13th and Saturday the 14th of December at the Owen Sound City Jail. This is a fundraiser for the United Way of Grey Bruce, and they are going to be charging $20 a ticket, and they're doing guided tours of the now vacated Owen Sound City Jail. Now, I don't know that it'll have the same crush of attention that the Kingston Penitentiary had. However, the notoriety will be it'll be shared by many of the former jail guards who have volunteered to provide tours, as well as former staff members of the jail who have very graciously volunteered their time to serve in volunteer capacity for the United Way over that 2-day period. United Way is taking on all management, promotion, and operations of this event. And of course, there is a limited number of tickets, and they are looking forward to hosting 336 people as a maximum during that 2-day time frame. They are simply offering a 60-minute tour, which will be guided. I've mentioned to staff on council's behalf that perhaps next spring, when we're engaged in the Doors Open event, if the building is still in a state of repair such that it's safe to provide an opportunity for members of the public to come through, perhaps the jail could be one of the Doors Open locations. And we'll certainly look forward to seeing that time. Councillor Lemon.
The jail was a place where there were closed doors, and you're going to propose that jails for doors open.
Yes.
Interesting.
Well, jail reform, it runs long and deep in Grey County, I think. Councillor Twaddle.
Just a question, since this is the first that, as a council, I think we've heard about this. Normally, when somebody's using a city-owned facility, there would be an agreement and the provision of liability insurance, and an agreement would come before council.
And I believe we'll see that agreement in 2 weeks' time.
Okay, that's all I
Absolutely.
wanted to know. We haven't approved it yet, but it's been announced. Okay.
Yes.
That's fine. Thank you.
Yes, it will come in 2 weeks' time. Absolutely. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Councillor Burden.
Oh, just very briefly, with the United Way and all things United Way, they do a fantastic job raising funds for our community and community services. Do we do anything as a city council, like an initiative? I know they often have the cities or places of employment. So it's just kind of a question about the United Way. I know Bruce Power there, all their employees are involved with different initiatives, and I wondered if the city jail tour had something to do with the city, or is it just independent?
That would be something that the HR department would look after in terms of, and the staff employee group, but certainly not something that council would speak to necessarily. City manager, have any comments on that?
We don't currently.
Thank you. Okay, any other folks who'd like to speak to other business? Brad, I think, got his there, but you'd like to elaborate, perhaps?
Maybe I'll just make it a bit more formal, just to announce that on this Wednesday, November 20th, between 2:30 and 5:30, we will be having the second public consultation session on the 3-route transit system. And so those who use the transit system, there will be a direct stop in front of the Bay Shore, and the meeting will begin at 2:30. There'll be information boards there, there'll be a presentation, and there'll be some facilitated participation by the attendees.
Motion that the committee rise, please. Thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. We are in formal session. Could I have a resolution, please, adopting proceedings in Committee of the Whole?
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Twaddle, that action taken in Committee of the Whole in considering public meetings, deputations, public question period, matters arising from correspondence, reports, matters tabled, motions for which notice was previously given, and other business be hereby confirmed by this council.
Thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Notices of motion. New business by resolution. Bylaws.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Lemon, that bylaws numbers 2013-219 to 2013-223 inclusive be hereby passed and enacted.
Thank you. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? And we are now adjourned.